Elliot and Joe from the Ghost Theory channel are back at a crumbling forest mansion, this time determined to track down whatever was responsible for the screams that drove them away on their previous visit.
We heard strange noises coming within the building, so we decided to stop doing the interviews and just do a small investigation for members. So we've decided to come back now, once and for all, to find out what is really haunting this mansion. What? Are you f***ing serious?
Well, as you can see, the house is behind me, and if that doesn't look like something out of a horror film, then I don't know what does. But we're going to go in and have a look around and just see what's changed. It's not going to be a huge amount to look at, I'd imagine. It's quite destroyed.
I mean, straight away you can just see the decay is absolutely unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's been totally ransacked. I'm going to start in here, because this is kind of like... Ugh. What?
The structure is little more than a rotting skeleton swallowed by ivy, and as they make their way up the unstable staircase to the upper floor, they have no idea that something in that building may already be aware of them.
Are you able to do anything to let us know that you're here?
I've
What?
just seen a shadow go past the stairs. I'm just waiting to see if it's a bat, but that was very clear, like, movement.
I saw a shadow earlier when we were doing the intro.
Did you used to live here?
It's like I saw we always hear a bell. It's like a bell, like just, ding.
What's that noise?
Which one? Sake.
I don't know. I'll go down a level.
A shadow drifts past the well-known staircase, and then the stillness is shattered by something that has no business existing inside an abandoned ruin. The sound of a phone ringing.
It's really creepy though. The first thing that, well, like the first major thing that happened with our channel really was like my phone going off here. Like, how has that happened? It's ridiculous.
Listen though.
Well, let's just go the fuck down and have a look, because if there's people here, there's people here. I don't really give a shit anymore. Do you?
Wow.
I mean, it's either a next door neighbour.
Well, I mean, that was definitely a gate.
There isn't a gate here though.
I know, but if it was next door's gate, going in and out.
Well, so it doesn't matter then.
Well, unless they've...
So they would have gone back home then.
We only come out to sort of see what we're doing, but yeah, let's just have a
What,
look.
1:30 in the morning? And we've been here already for over an hour, and now we're quiet. Suddenly they decide to just turn up with their phone ringing outside. There's a phone in this house ringing, but there's no one in the house. That was 100% through here.
That is...
Following the noise, they track it to a concealed cupboard where they discover a modern iPhone lying on the floor, its screen lit up with missed calls from an unknown number.
And guess what's on the other side of this door? There is actually a phone. There is a phone. There is a fucking iPhone
Seriously?
just sat there on the floor.
What the fuck?
Do you know what I think has happened? Exactly what's just happened to me. Trying to climb through there and their phone's fallen out of their pocket. They're trying to climb back out and their phones fell out and not realised.
Look. What?
There's an iPhone just sat on the floor. Just stick your head in.
We did manage to retrieve the phone, which had a few missed calls and some private notifications. We actually waited upstairs with the phone for a while to see if anyone would call back, but the phone eventually died. Obviously, none of this is paranormal, but it's still a very strange coincidence that we once again hear a phone going off in this house.
If there is a spirit with us, we want to make contact with you. Can you tell us where you are? Can you close a door or throw something?
That sounded like a little noise upstairs there.
Yeah.
Like, didn't sound like rain there.
Are you upstairs? Sounded like something again.
What?
It sounded like potentially upstairs, but it could be water.
Beside the device, a pencil rests next to two names, Sophia and Samantha, scratched into the heavy layer of grime coating the surface. Elliot leans into the darkness and quietly calls out the name Samantha.
Hang on, do not touch that a second.
If you look at the footage from the walk-around, you can see the pencil has not moved. But we then noticed that there were two names written on the shelf with the same pencil.
There's something there as well. There's loads of names.
Oh yeah?
And they're old as well, actually.
That is Sam. Simon?
What, with an A?
Is that just salmon?
Just their shopping list.
Yeah.
There's a name at the back, Sophia, as well.
Sophia.
Can you show that? Because I want to show that that's actually
Should I put it in colour?
got dirt. Yeah. That says Sophia, if you can even see that.
Yeah. So
And it's
Sophia.
Twice. And Samantha, I think.
Samantha, yeah.
Sophia and Samantha.
Okay.
I wonder how old that is, though. Is that explorers, or is that someone who lived here?
Well, is there a Samantha here?
What?
Is there a Samantha here?
What?
Is there a Samantha here?
What?
Is there a Samantha here?
What? No, come on.
That's
Come on.
That's amazing.
A jarring metallic crash reverberates through the space, and almost instantly Elliot recoils, grabbing at his back as a sudden, intense physical pain tears through him.
Here it sounds like a window latch or something. I don't even know what.
What's that? Again?
Hmm?
I heard metal again.
Hey, what name is it? Sophia or Samantha?
Well, I said Samantha and then bang.
So, okay. So maybe it is a child.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that.
What?
I am not. I do not want my back in that room on my own.
So are we talking, is there a child here called Samantha? Did you die here? Is this your bedroom? I don't want to just bombard you with questions, but we're very, very interested to know.
Something unseen hurls a heavy object around the corner at the exact moment their camera batteries start dying on them. It's becoming clear that whatever is occupying this place isn't simply a lingering spirit. A forest with a body count gives you no warning. The trees look ordinary, the trails feel like any other trails. But when those same trails were once walked by a serial killer who buried his victims face down, with their wrists bound behind them, the quiet starts to carry a different weight. So what's the story here? Tonight's third video comes from Bushcraft and Camping Adventures, an Australia-based outdoor and dark tourism channel run by a guy named Craig Zammett. Solo survival, traditional bushcraft, cooking over open flames, and a very specific tendency to pitch his tent at locations with the most disturbing histories imaginable.
5 minutes into our trek, and I've come across bones. Man, that is hilarious. Man, this is wild. This is wild. There's mushrooms out here. This is...
Let's get into it. 5 minutes in, and Craig has barely cleared the tree line when he spots them. Bones on the ground, weathered, spread out across the forest floor. He notes where he is and keeps walking. In most forests, that detail wouldn't register. In Belanglo, it registers.
I'm not sure what to make of all these bones, I'll be honest. There's kind of bones everywhere here. And I know wildlife dies and all that, but it's more than normal. I mean... that's the length of a femur. And here's another one. These are old bones too.
Deeper in, he finds more remains, a striking number of them, including what looks like a substantial femur. Craig is quick to point out that animals die in the wild. That's just nature. What isn't normal is the sheer concentration of remains packed into this one particular stretch of forest. He locates a campsite regardless, sets everything up, and stays the night.
Before I was out looking for wood, and I distinctly heard, and I'm not making this up, I'm really not making this up, like, I distinctly heard a female voice kind of screeching out, "Don't." Mosquito. Like, whoa, the f***. Okay, so that's weird. Anyway, and yeah, so I was out there and I heard a female voice screeching out, "Don't!" Like, don't. I stopped to listen to see if it would go again, and if it did, my camera was ready. And it didn't. It was one off. Don't! Don't! Kind of like an irritated don't. There's no other conversation, there's nothing. If that was real, there would have been follow-up sounds, or at least something.
He stepped away from his tent to collect firewood as the daylight drains away, when the forest suddenly breaks open. A sharp, irritated female voice cuts through the trees. One single word, don't, crisp, near, impossible to dismiss. He freezes on the spot, lifts the camera, and the forest falls completely silent. Nothing comes after it, just darkness and a word that has absolutely no explanation being out here.
Right. You know, when Malat buried his victims, he always did it in a very specific way. It's really bizarre, and it really makes me wonder what was going through his head. He would always bury his victims face down with their hands behind their back, and then he would build a pyramid over their body with sticks and ferns. And that's how he'd find them. That's how he'd leave them.
Now it's campfire time, the surrounding dark, total, and complete. Craig walks through the history, how the killer positioned his victims face down, hands restrained behind their backs, then carefully arranged deliberate pyramids built from sticks and forest debris directly on top of the graves. Calculated, methodical, almost ceremonial. And here's Craig, sitting alone in the blackness of Belanglo, laying all of this out in detail. I genuinely have no idea what compels a person to do that.
The gunshots that I heard about an hour ago, they were definitely pretty funky. And the female's disembodied voice I heard before. But apart from that, I think it's time to crash out. It's about 10:30 now, and beautiful full moon out. I think it's about time we call it for the night. So we will see you, unless we have some kind of incident, in the morning.
Just before settling in for the night, Craig mentions he'd heard what sounded like gunshots echoing through the trees roughly an hour earlier. Distant, unaccounted for, in a forest that has already witnessed far darker things. He sleeps anyway. Morning arrives. The voice comes back. In the daylight, he decides it was probably some unusual bird or animal call, which is almost certainly the correct explanation. Almost certainly, he packs his gear, takes a moment to acknowledge that Belanglo is genuinely stunning in spite of everything it represents, and heads out. The bones scattered among the pines, the voice that told him don't, the gunshots no one ever explained, and one man who closed his eyes and slept through all of it because he wanted the footage. Honestly though, I wouldn't have made it past nightfall. TL Days is a channel built around outdoor exploration, run by a guy named Matt who has a deep passion for wilderness survival. His content typically celebrates the freedom of living off the land on his own terms, well away from anything unsettling. So this time around, he did something that felt completely out of character. He chose to spend the night inside a cave that locals have long described as haunted.
Entire reason why we're doing this mission today. One of my real good mates who lives just up here, he said to me he went to visit this cave, he walked into the cave, he reckons that there's a man-made ladder which you can climb down, and as he was climbing down the cave he had this super uneasy feeling, like he reckons it was like nothing he's ever felt before, like he was being felt like he was like being watched, he had like cold shivers over his body, and he reckons he's like, this is like a pretty manly dude, and he reckons he was like fully wigging out, like he sort of went into the cave a little bit and he just had that feeling of like he was being watched or there was something going on in the cave. So he reckons he hightailed it out of there, and he told me about it, and he said to me, you will not go and sleep in that cave.
He traveled incredibly light for the occasion. A Leatherman, a flint striker, a cheap headlamp missing its strap, a knife, a tin of baked beans, and a box of GoPro batteries. One thing he deliberately left at home was water. His plan was to push his limits, banking on the possibility that the cave might contain hidden water sources he could purify over a fire. After hours trekking through the dry Australian bush, Matt eventually reached the cave entrance.
To the bedroom for the night, and it is not what I expected at all. Hello? Okay, outside world, I'll see you tomorrow morning when we're climbing out of this cave. Right now, there is not one sound except for my voice. There's not one peep. Just listen to this, listen. Oh, it's freaky. It's actually really spooky.
He worked his way through the cave's tunnels and gaps, some too tight for a person to squeeze through, others showing clear signs of regular activity from creatures unknown. Once darkness settled in, the cave started showing a different side of itself.
8:36 at night. Two noises which I've heard which completely, the second noise, I had goosebumps from my head to toes. I'm talking a sound I've never heard it before in my entire life. It had to have been a bat, it had to be something, but it's just not, it's just something I've never heard before. First one was a rock falling way over there somewhere. It just rolled for ages and then it sort of just hit another rock on the bottom. But the second sound, I froze, man. I was like frozen, like I couldn't move. I was just waiting for something just to like whack me. It's just strange.
He tried to talk himself down. Could have been bats, could have been shifting rocks. But that uneasy feeling his friend had warned him about was no longer just a story. Matt was living it. Around 11 at night, things took a turn. Matt sat down to enjoy his gourmet dinner of Australian baked beans straight from the can. That's when everything changed.
Moving when I climbed down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on, it's moving. You can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even for Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. Look. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. The only thing it can be, like, this is a public cave. People can come in this cave. The thing that's strange, it's like 11 o'clock at night. Why would anyone come in here? And the chain moved. Like, if you're gonna walk down the chain, it will swing the whole entire way. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna swing, but this isn't swinging. This is just moving.
At a certain point, the noises grew impossible to ignore. He grabbed his gear and made his way toward the ladder, fully prepared to call it quits.
This is the ladder that was making the sounds. Now you're trying to tell me that this big ladder, something has to move this. And it has to move it because a rock fell and rolled all the way down here somewhere. So something was moving this chain 3 times in a row. I got no idea what it could have been. Can't be the bats. These bats are active. They're everywhere, but they're too small. Okay, it is up around 2:30 in the morning right now. I've heard that sound again. So the only way I can describe this noise, it's between a cat hissing and it sounds like human voice. Like, I'm not even joking. It sounds human-like. I can't even make the sound with my mouth. It's an extremely weird sound, and as soon as you hear it, you just get riddled with goosebumps. I've built up the confidence. I've walked around the cave. I'm trying to walk in the direction of the sound, and I've been looking around for, I don't know, the good part of 15 minutes now. I can't see any, like, cat eyes. I can't see any movement. I can't see anything. It's just really strange. This is the direction that sound comes from. And, I don't know. Can't see anything, but it just doesn't sound right at all.
Even with every instinct screaming at him to get out, Matt held his ground. He repositioned himself close to the entrance, near the ladder, and resolved to wait it out until morning. When he finally came to, daylight had broken through.
Ladder had movement, and I'm not talking movement like this. It was moving like this, but then it would just stop. Now you tell me how the hell that ladder moves without somebody pushing it, touching it. I got no idea.
He climbed out of that cave to find zero evidence that anyone had come near it during the night. Whatever had moved that chain wasn't human, or at the very least, Matt couldn't find a single trace to suggest otherwise. This whole video is a perfect example of why people keep chasing these kinds of experiences. There are things out there that simply refuse to be explained, sounds with no identifiable origin, movement that makes no logical sense. Maybe it was bats, maybe the cave was just messing with his head, or maybe the friend who ran from that place the first time knew exactly what he was talking about. This clip was captured by a guy named Danny, a solo camper who had ventured deep into a forested area to check on a wilderness shelter he had been constructing over the course of several months. The idea was straightforward: spend a night out there by himself, get a fire going, crack open some beers, and unwind surrounded by nothing but trees. At first, everything looks pretty normal: soggy ground, dense woodland, mud underfoot, and the gentle ambient sounds of nature. But the further Danny pushes toward his shelter, the more the forest begins to feel off. Not because anyone appears, not because something lunges from the shadows, but because the quiet itself starts pressing in on him. The trees seem frozen in place, and with each step, a nagging sense builds that he is not out here alone.
So I've decided to bail. It look very dark here, but it is. Something's just got me spooked tonight, I don't know what. This is not like me. Oh shit, this is that stream we're all looking for. Now I've got to jump it.
Sweeping the camera across the surroundings, there is nothing obvious, just trees, undergrowth, and darkness stretching between the trunks. but then he picks up what sounds like footsteps. Something is moving nearby. Maybe it is just wildlife, maybe it is only the mud and debris settling beneath the trees, or maybe being completely isolated in the dark is starting to get inside his head. Danny does his best to keep it together, continuing to scan the area and keeping the camera rolling, but the strange sounds refuse to stop. And despite seeing nothing, he cannot shake the feeling that something is tracking him through the forest. Still, he presses on, pushing deeper into the woods toward the shelter, fighting the urge to turn back. But the unease
I'm hearing sounds now. I don't know if they're foxes, badgers, bats. What the hell?
only thickens. As he moves further in, unsettling sounds begin rising from multiple directions at once. One noise cuts sharply through the trees, another answers from somewhere further off, and then the whole forest drops into silence. He has no way of knowing what is behind any of it, and that is exactly what makes it so deeply unsettling. Out in the woods alone at night, even the faintest sound can start to feel deliberate, like whatever is out there already knows your exact position. He tells himself it is probably an animal, maybe just wind rattling the branches. But after a string of these moments stacking up on top of each other, that reasoning starts to feel thin. The shelter no longer feels like a refuge, and the woods themselves feel hostile now. Too hushed, too concealing, and the prospect of waiting there until daylight becomes something he simply cannot commit to. So he makes the call to go. He turns around, trudges back through the mud, and tries to retrace the route he came in on. For a stretch, even finding the way out feels uncertain. Every tree blends into the next, and every sound from behind him seems to be gaining ground. He does eventually make it out without incident, but the footage leaves behind one thought that is hard to shake. Something was moving around that shelter. Whether it was an animal, another person, or just fear warping every snapped twig into something sinister, Danny made the right call by leaving, because had he stayed the night, whatever was circling out there in the dark might have gotten a lot closer. See them. Stanley is the creator behind the YouTube channel Cursed Urban, a channel built around overnight explorations, stealth camping expeditions, and investigations into locations tied to urban legends, paranormal claims, and reports of strange activity. On May 19th, 2026, Stanley ventured alone into a reportedly haunted forest, where camping had already been banned, a place connected to stories of missing persons and alleged cult activity. Local accounts also describe visitors being followed and harassed after entering the area after dark. What started out as another solo urban exploration gradually turned into a night where the mystery surrounding that forest stopped feeling distant and started feeling very, very close. There's 3.
Like, I feel like I'm being watched right now. As cliche as that sounds, I know it sounds cliche as hell, but I had something directly back here and then something right to my left. Looks like it opens up out here to maybe another field. Let's go check it out over here and see if we see anything out here first. What is that? I just heard a scream. Jeff was the first answer, but I just heard a scream. A scream from across the lake. I just heard a scream from across the lake. And I know that's all forest property too. So how it goes is from like there over to where I am is like all forest property. Then there over to that side is all like homes. Like that's a house. Then there's a bar and grill right behind me. Dude, I'm hearing a lot of stuff right now. Oh, look over there. Look over there. Look over there. There's a fire. There's a fire.
As Dan pushed further along the wooded trails, the energy around him shifted almost right away. The quiet isolation slowly gave way to a creeping sense that something was sharing the space with him, with sounds rising from multiple directions and movement becoming nearly impossible to track through the darkness. While scanning the lake, distant screams and unidentified noises echoed across the property, and multiple campfires appeared out of nowhere in a zone where camping was strictly forbidden. Rather than feeling deserted, the forest suddenly felt very much inhabited. As the night wore on,
Harold Could you tell me any more about the evil that is here that you mentioned? If you're still around. I just heard it again. There's something in these trees. There's something for sure in these trees. This is the same spot I heard it before. What's back there, dude? Doesn't seem to be like a path or anything. Maybe, but I don't know how to get to it. Surgery. I just heard something else. She thrives on fear. Guys, dude, I got a really bad feeling right now. There it is, dude. There it is. I just heard a growl from the woods.
The activity closing in around Dan grew harder to dismiss. Repeated responses through the spirit talker kept circling back to fear and some kind of unidentified presence, before abruptly pivoting into direct warnings urging him to get out. Shortly after, unfamiliar sounds crept back in from deeper in the woods, including what he described as growling coming from somewhere among the nearby trees. Every time he tried to locate the source, the area went completely silent, leaving nothing visible to explain what he just heard, until he finally retreated into the tent to try and get some rest.
Hello? Hello?
Even after that, the disturbances around the campsite didn't let up. Branches cracked outside, sound surfaced near different corners of the site, and lights moving around the exterior of the tent suggested more than one presence circling the area. After boosting the audio, he became convinced that multiple individuals had deliberately approached the campsite. What made it even more unsettling was that nothing had been taken. Expensive gear left sitting outside the tent remained completely untouched, which meant whoever had shown up wasn't there for his equipment. The real question became figuring out exactly why they had come at all. Throughout the night, Dan had been trying to make sense of unexplained sounds, screams, and movement in the dark. But once actual people entered the equation, everything shifted. Paranormal activity leaves space for interpretation, but human behavior is a different matter entirely. Someone had quietly moved toward the campsite while he was asleep, closed the distance enough to be picked up on audio, and then slipped away without ever announcing themselves. Unlike strange noises drifting through the trees, people arrive with intentions, and intentions are far less predictable. Were they just cutting through the area? Were they trying to intimidate someone camping somewhere they had no business being? Or had Dan unknowingly wandered into a situation involving people who had already been watching him long before he ever suspected anyone was out there? The most disturbing part wasn't simply that they had been there, it was how close they had already gotten without ever waking him. If their intentions had been something far darker, Dan would have been lying asleep inside a tent with almost no time to respond and very little sense of who was standing just a few feet away in the pitch black. Fortunately, nothing pushed past that point. The individuals eventually faded back into the darkness without attempting to breach the campsite, which meant the most chilling aspect of the whole encounter became the realization of what could have unfolded rather than what actually did. By the time morning came, Dan had already made up his mind to pack up and go, and the investigation wrapped up well before sunrise, but the questions it left behind made the trip home with him. If those voices hadn't been captured on camera, he might never have known he wasn't out there alone. Or, on January 25th, 2026, the YouTube channel City Boy posted a video documenting his solo overnight stay in the frozen mountains of Fukushima, Japan. Nothing around him but darkness, snow, and vast empty wilderness. As daylight faded and the cold continued to intensify, the surrounding silence took on an almost eerie quality. Out in a place like that, even the faintest noise demands your full attention. Sitting alone in his car, he passed the time reading a horror story about someone who begins hearing footsteps circling their tent in the dead of night. It felt like harmless entertainment at the time, but the image planted itself somewhere in the back of his mind and refused to leave. The story detailed slow, deliberate steps drawing closer through the pitch black, and once he'd finished it, the quiet mountain air surrounding him no longer felt quite so calm. Then, Several hours later, long after things had settled into total stillness, a faint sound from outside cut right through the silence. It was subtle but unmistakable enough to put him immediately on edge. He tried to rationalize it away at first, telling himself it was nothing worth worrying about, but that uneasy feeling refused to fade. The quiet pressing in around the car had shifted into something tense, something that felt loaded with possibility. Then it came back, and this time there was no mistaking it. Slow, measured footsteps moving across the ground just outside the vehicle. They had none of the erratic quality you'd expect from an animal, and that steady, deliberate rhythm made the whole thing deeply unsettling. For a brief moment, it seemed as though whatever was out there had come to a stop just beyond the edge of his visibility. Right beside the car, he went completely motionless inside, barely daring to breathe, with no way of knowing whether it had actually moved on. Come morning, the surrounding area appeared completely undisturbed, but the dread that had gripped him overnight never entirely lifted. Those mountains felt like a different place after what he'd experienced. Even long after leaving, one thought kept circling back to him. Had that car door been unlocked that night, things in those remote, isolated mountains could have gone in a very different direction. This next case involves a group of people driving through Detroit's overgrown ghost neighborhoods after dark, when 2 driverless cars materialized out of the shadows, and then one of them blew up. Detroit has entire streets where the homes no longer exist. The city demolished them, and nature reclaimed the land, roads that still carry names, but don't go anywhere anymore. On August 5th, 2018, the host of Dan Dell's channel was moving through one of those stretches in the Farnsworth district, with a group of people when the cars came into view.
So we start driving, and I circled around one more time, and we go down this little street. No houses, no nothing.
No lights.
No lights. There's a Mercedes SUV.
A black Mercedes SUV, probably about 2012.
Yeah, parked on the side of the road with the lights on. And then as we're looking at that, we look over in the woods.
And there's no one in the car, by the way.
There's no one in the car.
Yeah, no one in the car, but it's running.
So on the opposite side of the road, in the woods, there's a damn Cadillac with the door open, sitting in the woods with the lights on and everything.
A black Mercedes SUV idling on the shoulder, headlights burning, engine running, completely empty. Then on the opposite side of the road, buried in the tree line, a Cadillac sitting in the woods with its door hanging open and its lights still on. Not a soul in sight. The group begins to lose it, and Dan loops back around the block.
This can't be good. Like, it's deep into the forest there.
Yeah.
And we all start freaking out because something's going on.
Yeah, I'm like, something is definitely going on. So I'm going to circle the block and go back.
Right.
So I go up a few blocks and then turn around to go back. As we're driving back
heading toward that street.
We're on the street, but we're 3 blocks away.
Right.
The Mercedes comes plowing down the road.
They take off.
70, 80.
They're a few streets over when the Mercedes suddenly tears past them, doing somewhere between 70 and 80 miles an hour. Even so, he pushes on toward the Cadillac.
Stop sign before that street, so we're just a little bit away from where that Mercedes was parked.
We're there, and I'm like, well, I guess the Cadillac is still there, and then all of a sudden we hear a small explosion.
We see a flash of light, and you can feel it.
Yeah,
we could feel it.
So instantly, I thought it was a gunshot.
Yeah,
I thought someone was killed in that forest area.
Right. So
that's why I started to freak out so much.
Yeah. We hear the explosion. We feel it. I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden we see
Something just exploded. Yeah. Dude, it was good.
Dan, get the out of here.
It's on fire.
No way.
Dan.
Dude, get the out of here. Get the out of here. Go.
Dan, get out of here.
Go.
Dan,
go.
get out.
Go. Someone call the police.
Dan, get on the phone. Go.
Get on the phone.
They're nearly back to the spot when it hits, a deafening blast, a burst of light cutting through the trees, and the car is fully engulfed in flames. As they creep past, there appears to be a figure sitting behind the wheel. The group erupts and screams, and someone dials 911.
this is one of the most unbelievable situations I've ever had happen. I've never seen something like this before, and it's something shady because I'll tell you, the Mercedes, the guy in the Mercedes, whoever was in the Mercedes, when we drove by that Mercedes, was the passenger door open?
No.
Can you believe this? I think I started the camera right after the pop, but they set something in there to blow up. Probably put maybe a gas canister or something in there.
Maybe.
Because it exploded.
It exploded. It was a loud pop. God, I hope there's not a body in there.
I don't know. Is it a Cadillac? So now the firefighters are searching through this area here, because when we drove by, the driver's side door was open. And whoever was getting ready to set this car on fire, they had taken off.
Once the chaos dies down, Dan starts putting the pieces together. The shape in the driver's seat was almost certainly pillows, deliberately arranged to make the burning vehicle look occupied. When firefighters arrived, they confirmed the car had been rigged to ignite on a precise timer. Whatever unfolded in those woods that night was carefully orchestrated. Dan just happened to roll through at exactly the wrong moment. CO.AG is an Indonesian YouTuber who regularly uploads footage of his adventures exploring the unknown. His content typically features abandoned structures and locations with troubled pasts, though he also ventures out on solo camping trips into remote wilderness. For one particular video, he set out to spend 3 days in a forest in central Java, but what unfolded during that trip left him shaken in a way he hadn't experienced before.
Jadi teman-teman, hari ini kita akan mencoba untuk survive di tempat yang alamiah sekali tempat ini, dan aku bener-bener sendirian di sini. Kita akan solo camping di tempat ini. Itu di bawah situ ada kali. Kayaknya bagus buat ngecamp ya. Aku udah survei tempat ini dan aku nemu beberapa titik yang cukup bagus untuk bikin kayak tenda. Ini aku udah bawa tendaku, baju ganti, makan, mie instan sih, terus apalagi ya, kompor dan sebagainya, semua yang dibutuhkan untuk jadi anak hutan, termasuk rangka tenda ini. Tapi aku beli di all shop tendanya yang nggak tahu ya, ini tenda paling murah gitu ya, cuman kok rangkanya kayak gini, jadi aku harus bawa seperti ini. Oke, forget it. Cukup intronya, mari kita langsung cari spotnya ya. Aku survei di sini 3 hari yang lalu. Kayaknya di sini bakalan lembab dan hujan nanti malam, karena nggak tahu ya, ini Maret tapi.
He eventually located a suitable spot deep within the trees and got his campsite together. The first day passed without incident, some fishing, a cooked meal, and a generally relaxed atmosphere around camp. He made it through that first night without a hitch, and everything felt like it was going smoothly. Then the second night arrived and changed everything. Something jolted him awake in the middle of his sleep. Something he still can't put a name to, even now.
Guys, kalian dengar suara itu enggak? Aku nggak tahu ini jam berapa sekarang. Tapi aku kebangun gara-gara suara itu, anjir. Di luar masih hujan. Kalian dengar nggak? Kalian dengar nggak? That's kalian dengar suara itu nggak? Anjir, itu bikin aku kebangun. Anjir, aku nggak tahu nih jam berapa sekarang. Anjir, hilang suaranya. Suaranya hilang. Aduh, kepencet. Aku buka dulu coba. Hilang suaranya. Hilang suaranya. Anjir, padahal nggak ada siapa-siapa loh. Man. Apa tadi? Sumpah merinding aku. Anjir lah. Anjir lah. Tadi suaranya kedengeran kan? Ya suara cewek kan? Man. Tutup aja deh. Di luar lagi hujan, teman-teman. Lagi hujan di luar.
It sounded like the cry of a woman, unmistakably human, disturbingly real. Unable to determine whether he was actually hearing a person in distress or something else altogether, Joe remained inside his tent as the sound persisted. When it finally died down, he stepped outside to investigate, but found absolutely nothing. Now, whether you believe in the supernatural or not, there's little reason to immediately leap toward a ghostly explanation. A far more grounded possibility is that it was a real person, someone who had gotten lost in the forest, disoriented and desperate. In thick woodland like that, especially under the cover of darkness with barely any visibility, losing your bearings and falling into a panic is entirely understandable. Despite being rattled, he made the call to stay put, since attempting to navigate out through pitch black forest could have landed him in a far worse predicament. As for what was actually out there, the footage alone doesn't give us a definitive answer, so I want to hear from you. What's your theory, and what would you have done if you were in his position? Xenia Stepanov is a Russian content creator with a reputation for venturing into abandoned buildings, dense forests, crumbling towers, and the kinds of locations most people would never willingly set foot in. His videos tend to carry that raw, fearless energy, scaling structures, wandering through forgotten spaces, and capturing whatever unfolds on camera. But this particular video hit differently. What began as a casual trip to an abandoned campsite buried deep in the woods quickly spiraled into something far more unsettling, leaving Genya and his crew with no idea who they were actually up against.
Они с Славой и со мной, короче. Куда мы идем, короче, объясни.
Короче, достаточно интересное место, в котором достаточно хороший сохран. И, в принципе, что мы там можем увидеть? Мы там можем увидеть такую мини-чернобыльскую зону отчуждения. Она чем-то напоминает чернобыльскую зону отчуждения тем, что там остались детские качели.
Карусель.
Да, карусель и все остальное. То есть вся такая атрибутика. Что мы еще там можем встретить? Мы можем встретить там бассейн, различные корпуса, ну и, в общем, различные здания хозяйств.
After pushing through the tree line, they eventually arrived at the entrance to the deserted site. Nothing suggested anyone was around. No movement, no signs of recent activity, no indication that the place was being watched over. It had the unmistakable feel of somewhere that had simply been left behind, swallowed up by the forest in the wake of the Chernobyl disaster, and quietly erased from memory.
Главное, чтобы на меня сейчас собаки не напали. Одному, потому что ходить такое себе. Вот он. Карусель. Опа. Доброе утро. Такая прикольная карусель. Сейчас как-то не очень это в кадре выглядит, потому что все серо на улице.
Pressing further in, the sense of total abandonment only deepened. Corroded playground equipment, a drained swimming pool, and crumbling structures sat completely undisturbed, frozen in time like the world had just walked away one day and never returned. Nothing about it suggested anyone still cared about the place, which is exactly what made what happened next so jarring. Somewhere outside, mid-exploration, voices broke the silence.
Но может быть, там просто написано последняя дата 2002. Внимание, время пользования телефоном. Лол, время пользования телефоном было с 4 до 6. Лол. Ой, еще одна комната. Какая-то фигня тут разбросана, колбы. Битые, все. Шкафчики. Прикольно. Когда-то тут кто-то жил. Чё? Она это бабка. Саня, с этим веткой не дай мне в глаз, пожалуйста. Да нет. Неплохо.
Initially, it was just a man shouting. Even that alone would have been enough to send most people sprinting for the exit. Out in the middle of nowhere, the last thing you want is a confrontation with someone who materializes out of thin air. But things escalated fast. This was no longer a stranger telling them to leave. Whatever was in that man's reaction made one thing immediately obvious. They needed to get out right now.
Ну-ка, быстро валим отсюда, а то я сейчас вам... А вот теперь бежим быстрее. Тихо, тихо, Саня.
The group bolted into the trees as the man appeared to open fire in their direction. Whether he was an official guard, a local protecting the area, or something else entirely was impossible to determine from the footage alone. But in that moment, it was completely irrelevant. They were deep in the forest, far from any help, being pursued by someone who seemed both erratic and armed. And that combination is what makes this footage so deeply unsettling. This wasn't a facility housing anything valuable. It was rotting, hollow, and falling to pieces. Even granting that he may have genuinely considered them trespassers, pulling a weapon turned what could have been a confrontation into something potentially life-threatening. Xenia and his friends ran until the campground was well behind them, and the man was no longer visible through the trees. But the atmosphere of the whole video had already shifted permanently. They had shown up expecting a quiet, forgotten ruin. What they found instead was someone who may have been entirely willing to make sure they never left. On October 24th, 20, the creator behind the YouTube channel Clawboss set out to investigate an abandoned tunnel alongside a group of fellow explorers. And whatever they encountered inside was the kind of thing that lingers in the mind long after you've walked away. Their journey started with the usual excitement and high spirits that tend to accompany these trips before a location begins to show its true nature.
Go into the spooky tunnel. We've got
new toy.
Super bright flashlights.
Yeah, look at the camera.
That's really bright. All right, let's go.
I was telling them I'll bring Anakin around here.
Dude, I want to.
Yeah.
Dude, I go to Israel every fucking year, bro. I walk in the middle of the desert, 10 miles a day. I walk nowhere.
Shortly after stepping inside, they spotted something dangling from the ceiling above them, and it brought the whole group to an uneasy standstill.
I hope not. I can't see, I'm blind, bro. Wait, I can zoom in, bro. Something hanging from the ceiling, bro. Thanks. Now, where do you see something?
What is that right there?
Oh, that?
It's hard to see it, bro. Yeah, right there.
Try it towards it.
Right there, you see that thing right hanging from the ceiling?
Like the last time we came, I think there was a rope. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, that's probably where they drove or something.
You know, when the tunnel was built, and I'm sure there was accidents, right?
Echo.
Yeah, they're all the way back there, yo. Yo! I mean, yeah, the first time I came here, that was so sketch. I mean, now the third time, I'm honestly not scared.
I'm not scared either.
You know what? I don't think we made it this far.
Further in, they came face to face with the very thing they had noticed hanging overhead earlier. It was unsettling on its own, made worse by the graffiti crawling across the walls all around it.
Guys, look at this.
Yeah, it's a doll, bro.
Guys, this is some creepy shit. That's for Satanism. And it's fucking moving, dude.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I'll give it that.
Y'all got here fast.
No.
Then something happened that made the entire group wonder whether the tunnel was home to something that shouldn't be there.
You don't hear anything in your ears? My ears are vibrating.
Oh, you... I just feel wind. Is that a ghost? Alright, so my man just did a little workout video, and his hands are still here. What the hell? It's from him.
Oh.
She's like, it's a hand.
Oh.
Alright, yeah.
The explorer and his companions had finally reached their breaking point when that eerie doll suspended from a ceiling above them proceeded to do something none of them could explain.
It should not be spinning like that at all. Let's get out of here. Dude, why? Yeah, think about it. If that doll wasn't there, look at the rope. Why is it swinging? A rope wouldn't swing that much. No way. Oh, wow. That's weird, man. Not enough. Let's go.
A doll strung up inside an abandoned tunnel is already deeply wrong on its own. A doll that starts moving while you're standing directly underneath it short-circuits rational thinking altogether. Somebody placed it there on purpose and then walked away. Whether that person was still lurking somewhere in the tunnel while the group watched it sway is a question none of them stayed around to answer. Getting out was the only priority, and honestly, that was exactly the right call. On February 3rd, 2017, Fabian explorers headed into a tunnel with his friend Danny, fully expecting the place to be deserted, only to come face to face with some very threatening individuals.
We're not the cops, don't worry.
Who's there?
Don't worry about it. Hey, we're filmers, don't worry about it. Okay.
Don't come near me. Nobody shine that light out. Alright. What do you want us to do?
We're just filming, dude.
Even after explaining they meant no harm and were simply content creators, the men weren't buying it and moved to confront them physically.
Go up there, go up there, go up there. Damn.
Did you see that guy with the saw?
With the what?
He had a saw.
You did?
You didn't see it? What saw in his hand, dude?
Show the knife. It's my knife that Danny took out just in case.
The moment you understand that the danger inside an abandoned space is not supernatural, but flesh and blood is a uniquely terrifying realization, and it can be argued it's the more frightening scenario. A ghost cannot physically stand between you and the exit. Those men absolutely could. Fabian and Danny had handled it as well as anyone could by trying to de-escalate with words, and it still didn't matter. Whoever those men were, they had staked a claim to that tunnel, and they had no interest in hearing anyone out. This next explorer ventured into an abandoned structure, but couldn't shake the persistent feeling that something else was in there with him.
No. What is happening? Hello, anybody in here? I come in peace. Yo, look at this freaking place, man. Let's see this room first. Hello, yeah? Who is it? Hello? What the f, guys? No. Let's get in here real quick. What the f was that? I heard someone's voice, yo. I swear to God.
Rather than turning around and heading home, he pressed on, moving deeper into the decaying building until something caught his eye that looked unmistakably like a shadow.
So we know that this place was the, what was it? The highway? Oh my God, look at the spider web over here. Broken glass everywhere. More spider webs. What is this room? Hello? So it's like they started tearing it down, but they never finished it. Oh my God, this place just keeps going, man. Yo, what is that over there? I swear to God I saw a shadow over there. It could be my flesh.
Still, he continued, pushing through one deteriorating room after another, while that nagging sense of being watched never left him.
Pots? What is that? Pot? Oh no, what the f is that? What am I looking at? Does anybody know what this is? Oh my God, I just looked to my left. I forgot I was right here. To my right, I mean. Yo, that creeped me the hell out. What should I do? I'm just frozen in place right now. I don't know what to do. Let's go this way. I keep hearing noises everywhere, man.
The feeling of being followed inside an abandoned building deserved far more attention than this explorer chose to give it. Your instincts are processing information that your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. Something in that structure had already registered as a threat before he had anything concrete to point to. The shadow showed up eventually, but the feeling arrived first, and it turned out to be right all along. A hiker making his way through the Appalachian Mountains began picking up on some unsettling sounds in the area around him. Initially, it was faint noise coming from somewhere in the distance. He described it as resembling children's voices, or someone calling out. Then other sounds started creeping in. That part of the country carries deep-rooted warnings passed down among locals and experienced hikers alike. Hearing voices when nobody's nearby, or catching the sound of whistling drifting out from the trees, are widely treated as signals to get out immediately, and whatever you do, don't answer back. Whether the explanation turns out to be an animal, some kind of acoustic trick, or something nobody can quite put a name to, encountering that sort of thing in the Appalachian Mountains is rarely a good omen. A YouTuber named Eric was cruising down a quiet highway with a group of friends, moving through a dense stretch of woodland when something along the roadside pulled their focus. At first it was just odd writing, the kind of thing your brain tries to dismiss as nothing, but the further they looked, the harder it was to shake the feeling that it was intentional, like somebody had been leaving a message specifically for whoever was unfortunate enough to notice. Curiosity won out, and they peeled off the main road onto a long dirt track swallowed by the trees. The vibe changed almost instantly. The entrance was decorated with deeply unsettling signage, strange phrases scrawled across boards, and something that had no business being this far from civilization. Rows of old dolls lined up along the fencing like silent sentinels. Then they caught sight of the main sign. It declared that this land belonged to a dangerous witch and that she was watching at all times. That is the exact moment this stops being a weird roadside oddity and starts feeling like something carefully constructed. The group tries to brush it off at first, laughing nervously, reading fragments of text aloud, attempting to decode Spanish language warnings, talking over one another in disbelief. But beneath all that noise, you can sense the shift taking place, the slow creeping realization that nothing about this place is accidental.
Don't tell me it's here. What the?
The further they push in, the more disturbing it becomes. Dolls turn up absolutely everywhere, not pristine or decorative, but cracked, burned, and weathered, arranged with a kind of eerie precision. Hanging from fences, lining the trail, positioned in ways that feel less like scattered junk and more like deliberate markers, something designed to be noticed.
Oh, this is like some voodoo shit. I don't even want to touch him. Can you go ahead and blink if you're haunted?
That detail is what I keep coming back to. Not the dolls themselves, but the sheer effort behind all of it. Every single object placed with purpose. Every piece of writing composed with clear intent. Every inch of that road engineered to make you feel like an intruder. As they press further along, the path brings them to even stranger sights. Handmade mannequins, dressed in tattered, rotting clothing, standing near the end of the trail, almost like figures holding their position waiting. Then the atmosphere shifts once more. Deeper in the woods, they stumble upon an abandoned shack. Not abandoned in any ordinary sense, but in the kind of way that immediately drags certain stories to the front of your mind. A crumbling structure, completely isolated, radiating the feeling that no one with good intentions has set foot near it in a very long time. That is when they spot movement somewhere in the distance. A figure. No clear explanation, no way to confirm what they are actually seeing, just enough to set off every alarm in their heads. And in moments like that, instinct tends to drown out everything else. They run. No further exploration, no attempt at answers. Just the immediate unanimous decision to get out before whatever they thought they might piece together turns into something none of them can explain. Long stretch of empty highway and a solitary pullout in the middle of nowhere. That's where this one begins. The channel is Dan's Van Life, and the clip in question was posted on May 14th, 2023. Dan's content doesn't really chase those polished travel highlights. It's more focused on the unglamorous side of living on the road, bouncing back from setbacks, problem solving on the fly, and going through all of it with his dog Cassie by his side. Dan had recently returned to the road after spending months recovering from shoulder surgery, and he was finally pointing his van west toward Colorado. With Cassie along for the ride and everything loaded up, it felt like a genuine reset, open highway, steady miles, and the mountains waiting somewhere ahead. By the time he crossed into Nebraska that evening, he pulled off at a secluded camping spot he'd found while browsing online. On the surface, it looked ideal, isolated, peaceful, far from anyone else. But the moment he arrived, something in the darkness caught his attention, just for a second, almost like two eyes reflecting the light back at him. He brushed it off.
All right, go potty.
I swear I just saw a set of eyes over there. I swear I just saw a reflection. Oh, man. Okay. We're not gonna get spooked. We're not gonna get spooked.
and didn't dwell on it. The following day, though, the place started feeling wrong in a completely different way. Ticks began appearing, not just a stray one or two, but enough to become a persistent, nagging problem for both him and Cassie. What was supposed to be a low-key rest day had turned into something draining and miserable. By nightfall, he was already worn out from everything the day had thrown at him. When he finally settled into sleep, the stillness was suddenly interrupted. Something at the back of the van, barely audible at first, then again more forceful this time, like weight pressing against the rear doors. And then there was a voice, close, clearly right outside. "What's going on, bud?"
What's going on, bud?
So I just woke up to the noise of something rutting around outside the van. I don't know if it was somebody f***ing with the back door handle or if it was just somebody bumping against the van. But we were parked somewhere that there should be no one near the van. And then I heard a loud belch. I got up and grabbed.
Dan shot upright, trying to process what he was actually hearing. Someone was out there, not wandering past in the distance, but right there. Then came the sound that made it undeniable, the door handle being tested. Out in a completely remote location, no other campers anywhere nearby, no quick way to get help, the whole thing took on a much more alarming weight. Most people would have floored it immediately, but Dan stayed put, not out of confidence, but sheer exhaustion and a kind of paralysis in the moment. Eventually the sounds outside faded and everything went still again, but real sleep never returned after that. Come morning, the scene looked completely ordinary. Same trees, same empty surroundings, yet something about it felt permanently different. What had started as just another overnight stop on a long drive ended up being the kind of experience that doesn't leave you easily. Black Camper is a YouTuber who's built his following around honest, down-to-earth content about life in the outdoors. There's no manufactured drama, no exaggerated reactions, just genuine experiences delivered with a relaxed tone and a sharp wit. His channel has never been about chasing thrills or spinning mystery out of thin air. It's about the raw, unpredictable nature of spending time outside, the beautiful parts and the uncomfortable ones alike. This particular trip started out no differently than dozens before it. He rolled his black camper into a public campground looking for a peaceful night's rest, only to discover the place was already a mess.
All right, y'all. There's actually a ton of people out here camping, man. Tons of people. So, well, yeah, we got plenty of neighbors tonight, dog. So let's see the best spot. This is our campsite. Right there will be perfect for the dirt stand. But somebody got here. I should have probably camped here. Ain't fun enough either. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna camp right. I'm gonna set up right here. Dirty diapers and glass in the fire pit. Yeah, I'm not making a fire. All right. See, this is why I don't like this park, man. Hopefully, I got enough water. I got enough fuel to boil my water. But yeah, all right. Let me get camp set up, dog. I think that's flat.
The fire pits were littered with broken glass, scattered trash, and even soiled diapers. Clear signs that whoever had been here before hadn't exactly treated the spot with respect. Even so, he kept a positive attitude. He found a corner, got his camp set up, and settled in for the evening. The kind of night where you work with what you've got.
I should have grabbed my bike, but I forgot to. So, all right. And I'm sorry about the music and the loud people if y'all hear that, but it's okay though, because it's a public campground. That's what happens. Oh, no, heck no. That's what this is, bro. Oh, yeah, heck yeah. Nah, it's too much dirt. Oh, no. No, sir. Just tonight, man. I'm actually testing this out. Thank you. Yeah. So, and also do some YouTube videos and stuff. So I was itching to get out and camp in it, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, let me get out. The trekking poles. So yes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a trekking pole tent. That's why it's so weird. It's like a super light, you know what I'm saying? Me out on YouTube, man, the Black Camper. Yeah, yeah. You'll be surprised, Doc. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Once his shelter was up and his gear was sorted, the sun started sinking behind the tree line, washing the campsite in a warm, fading glow. For a short while, everything felt familiar. Peaceful, manageable, ordinary. But underneath that stillness, something was quietly taking shape. Something that would change the mood of the night completely.
Oh, there go the thunder. Y'all see that lightning? But anyway, we about to let me go ahead and make sure I get everything batted down and we good for the night, cause I think it's gonna get kind of hectic. But that's cool. We ready for it. We ready. You know what I'm saying? We got a nice tent, and if anything, we get washed away, we got the truck right there. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. It's me. It's like 1, 2, 3 other people here. They all been here for a couple weeks. So.
He wasn't the type to jump to conclusions. He's talked openly about his view that public land belongs to everybody and that leading with compassion matters. But when heavy rain moved in and drove him back into his truck, that's when everything started to come apart. What had seemed like a minor annoyance was slowly turning into something that felt a lot more troubling.
This shit was crazy last night. The tent's still standing though, so that's good. But ooh, kind of scared the heck out of me. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro, you told me you handed it directly to him.
I don't remember exactly.
No, you told me with the homie down there that you told.
I knew this was gonna happen.
You better go find my wallet, man.
I don't have it.
What'd you do with it? Where you put it?
I don't know. I don't have it, bro.
You just told me you knew what you did with it.
I was half asleep. I might have given it.
You might have given it to who? Find my wallet, bro. The police on their way here, dog. You in trouble. Because you told me you found my wallet, right? You better call your mom. You better find my wallet, Chad.
I don't have it.
You better, what you do with it?
I put it up there on the stand.
You told me you gave it to Jerry.
Bro, I was half asleep. You don't know this.
You told me you gave it to Jerry, right?
I thought I did. I don't know.
You thought you did, man. You better find my shit, bro. That's bogus as hell. I was finna give you $50 for that shit, bro. Find my wallet. The police on their way.
I'm back out at Hillsdale State Park. Y'all know I was out here camping in the rain last night, and I left my wallet, and the punk, bro, I wasn't even gonna talk about the homeless people, but man, I remember the damn homeless people stole my wallet, man. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as I come back, the guy like, oh man, I turned your wallet in as soon as I found it. This and that, woo, woo, woo. I gave it right to Jerry. Like, man, so I come up here to talk to Jerry. Jerry's like, they ain't give me no wallet, bro. Like, no wallets up there. I'm like, come on, man, you can't, come on, man, why you lie? Why you gotta lie? I was finna hook the homie up with, I was finna hook him up with about $30. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a big deal. You finding my wallet and just turning it in. But to lie about it, bro.
Come morning, his wallet was gone. His first instinct was to doubt himself. Maybe it had slipped beneath a sleeping bag, maybe he tucked it into the wrong pocket or left it somewhere in the truck. But after going through every bag, every compartment, and every inch of the campsite, there was nothing. One of the people camped nearby eventually said they'd come across it, but the way the conversation went, evasive answers, shifting details, long pauses, only made the whole thing feel worse. There was no blow-up, no finger-pointing, just a quiet, unsettling sense that something had gone wrong. And even though the wallet never came back, what stung more than losing the money or the cards was that feeling of violation, the sense that something had been crossed. This wasn't a scary story in the conventional way. No strange figures lurking in the dark, no weird lights in the distance, no voices drifting through the trees. What made this experience get under your skin was how ordinary it all was. Because out here, the things that shake you aren't always coming from the wilderness. Sometimes they come from other people. And when you're out there alone, even a campground packed with strangers can start to feel isolating and unsafe. But he didn't let the night have the last word. He cooked himself a meal, got a few laughs in, and took a moment to appreciate the stillness of the lake before packing up and moving on. Because no matter how rough a night gets, it can't erase what keeps drawing him back out there. The open road, the quiet, and all the stories that come along for the ride. What's your take on what went down? Drop it in the comments. 8 Ghost Hunter is a paranormal YouTuber who scours the globe in search of supernatural evidence. visiting some of the creepiest locations on the planet. His channel has seen its fair share of unsettling moments, but this time around, he and his crew had something ambitious in the works. A Halloween special called Camping with Cryptids, in which they'd venture deep into America's most haunted woodlands, hunting for legendary beasts.
Any further, we just want to let you know that viewer discretion is advised. And going into this video, we all knew that the Blair Witch was not a real story. It's made up for the movie, but we wanted to go out into these woods and investigate.
Before the team even laced up their boots, Jake reached out to Colin Browen of the Paranormal Files, a guy who had already visited this particular location and had some very sobering things to tell them.
Anything, bro?
When I was out there, I straight up just started vomiting out of nowhere, which was really scary to me, especially since we backpacked all the way back there and I didn't have water or anything like that.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, people get murdered there. I think there's like at least 1 to a year. The freaky shit about that place is a lot of the murders have never been solved.
Look, I don't know about you, but the moment somebody mentions unsolved murders potentially roaming the same forest I'm about to walk into, I'm probably rethinking my entire itinerary. These guys, though, they pushed forward anyway, because that's the paranormal investigator's way, making deeply questionable decisions purely for our viewing pleasure. The team rolls up to the forest right at sundown, which honestly feels like timing pulled straight out of a Hollywood script.
First thing that everyone says in a horror movie, oh, this is so beautiful, guys. Good news, if we need to hide, that gives us a fantastic place to hide. Yeah, we can just get on top of it. Fantastic. Guys, we found a complex and there's a train passing. We were supposed to find a train bridge, but apparently we're not there yet. But
Somewhere around the halfway point of their hike, things start getting weird. Strange noises drifting through the trees, branch formations that look unsettlingly like Blair Witch symbols, and that creeping sensation of being watched. You know, just a perfectly relaxing night out in a forest, allegedly tied to violent crime. But that was only the warm-up act. As they closed in on their destination, something they heard made it crystal clear they had company out there.
Listen, listen, listen. Sounds like tribal drums. I see somebody down there. Come here, dude. Shh, dude. Dude. Shh. Oh my God, boys. Noah, look at this, dude. Be careful, guys. There is people here. We don't know who they are. We made it.
There's got to be like a party type thing going on because there were people.
That's weird, though. That's weird that they're having it here. Dressed up as what?
No, they were like dressed up in like nice clothes, like
okay.
clothes.
So we are here, dude.
We're
in
here.
The Blair Witch Church.
We're
bro.
here. We're here. We found it. Let's go.
Our mission's complete. Mission complete, boys.
Time to pack it up and head back to civilization. Just kidding. As anyone who's ever watched a horror movie knows, finding the creepy location is never the end of the story. It's barely even the beginning.
Yeah. Just explore it. Dude, no, this is not normal. No,
that sounded like
no.
War of the Worlds alien, bro.
Guys, you guys are not concerned enough about this. That is tribal drums. That's not normal music. There's no way back here except for the f***ing trail we just walked, but no car was at the entrance. And that was just a tribal horn sounding thing, dude. Like, why would that be a sound back here?
I don't know.
That's not music.
I didn't even know you could get back here
no,
that
dude,
way.
You can't. You can only get back here from the trail. That's why I'm saying, why are they here? This is not good.
I see people.
This isn't
There's
normal.
There's gotta be like a party on the creek, bro. There has to be.
Let's go.
Just stop and think about that for a moment. They just trekked 30 minutes into a remote stretch of wilderness with a single access trail and no other vehicles at the trailhead. So who exactly are these people, and how on earth did they get out there? And perhaps more pressing, why does it look like they're holding some kind of organized gathering in the heart of a forest with a deeply sinister reputation? The team opts to give them a wide berth and stay locked on their mission. What follows looks at first like a fairly routine paranormal investigation. Music boxes, REM pods, and a chronometer app running on someone's phone. The responses they pulled in were the kind that make paranormal fans sit up straight. The entity identified itself as the Blair Witch, confirmed it was demonic, and issued a warning about overstaying their welcome.
Tell us who you are with this device. Tell us where you came from.
Dude,
Do not touch. Do not touch what? What, dude?
Oh, okay.
What, bro?
No, that was a weird sound.
If you want us to be alone in this church, make that go off. The music box.
Do not touch. I mean, that could be do not touch. Oh my God.
It went off. It wants us to be alone, bro.
Okay. Now we need to figure out who
Yeah.
it wants to be alone.
Exactly. Do you want Noah to be alone? He's right here. Oh, you right.
The session produced exactly the sort of material that gets the paranormal community buzzing. Pointed responses, seemingly meaningful exchanges, and a persistent feeling that something very real and very otherworldly was communicating with them.
I feel like something's coming up on us
Dude,
right now.
I feel like you saw the picture of the Blair Witch, right?
Yeah,
I feel
don't
like she's
say
like
that.
crawling all around.
Do
bro.
not say that.
I'm giving you flash images, dude. That's what I'm feeling right now.
No, come with us. What the?
What was that? I just hear we're getting surrounded.
All right, come over here now. Everyone stick together. Did you not hear that?
No.
There's a massive. Something's moving. Something is moving in those bushes, dude. Right here, Clayton. It's right there. It's moving. No, get in here. It's a person.
Even with the entity cautioning them that leaving posed a danger, the team eventually accepts they have no choice but to make that 30-minute trek back through the dark. They load up their gear and set off down the trail, keeping the Necrometer app active as they walk.
No way, that's hidden. It said hidden.
What?
Like whoever's following us
It
is
said
hidden,
hidden?
bro. Motion. It's in motion. I heard motion behind you.
I don't know, dude.
Oh my god. Gun! It's a gun! Hidden motion gun. Someone's hiding.
We got proof of the Blair Witch.
Yeah, literal proof of the Blair Witch captured. So as we're walking back to the car, we're gonna end the video. But for the time being, Noah, what do they need to remember?
Remember, anything is possible, even when you survive.
Job done, right? They'd walked into the Blair Witch Forest and walked back out. The entity's ominous warnings had amounted to nothing. Time to get back to civilization, crack open a laptop, and start cutting this footage together. Except the story doesn't wrap up there, because sometimes the moment you exhale and think you're in the clear is precisely when everything unravels.
Jake! What happened? Jake! What happened? Where? Something stung you? Oh, damn.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, come on.
Keep going.
Yeah, go.
No, I can't. Dude, that's the worst pain I've ever felt.
Damn. Hey.
Barely seconds after Jake wraps up his triumphant sign-off, he lets out a sharp cry. A cicada killer wasp has gotten him, and if you've never had the misfortune of crossing one, the name tells you everything you need to know. But that sting turned out to be the least of their problems. While the group was rallying around Jake, something else cut through the night air and stopped them all cold.
What was that?
What was that?
What was that? What was that, guys? That was like a freaking hell. What just howled at us?
No. I can't breathe. I've never in my life had something like that happen to us, bro.
Yes. Something was screaming and howling at us. Come here, Noah, this way. Okay, I'll get up here. What is it, Clayton, in here? Clayton, come on. Turn the f***ing light off. I don't give a f***. Get down.
The weight of it landed on all of them simultaneously. They were standing alone in a forest where Colin had specifically flagged unsolved violent crimes, and gunshots were ringing out somewhere close by. This was happening in the dead of night, in a location with a known history of danger.
I'm serious. I love you guys. I love you too. I love you guys so much. It was right in front of us. More like 7 gunshots. Noah, stop talking. Stop. We were just filming a YouTube video out here on this trail, and then...
For the next 40 minutes, the team huddled inside a nearby shed waiting on police, with no idea whether whoever was pulling that trigger was aware of their presence or actively searching for them. When officers eventually showed up and swept the area, the shooter had already vanished without a trace. The whole episode was serious enough that Jake immediately pulled the plug on the rest of the planned series. They ate the losses, hotel bookings, rental vehicles, scheduled collaborations, all of it. But the bigger lesson they walked away with was this. Sometimes the most genuine threat lurking in these remote, forgotten places has absolutely nothing to do with the paranormal. While out on a hike, one man came across a narrow cave entrance tucked into the hillside. Curiosity got the better of him, and he headed inside, completely unaware of what was actually lurking within. What he came face to face with would make anyone's blood run cold. Somehow, he kept his composure, and that level-headedness is likely what stopped the bear from charging. He got away with it this time, but run-ins with bears can turn dangerous in a heartbeat. Knowing how to steer clear of these moments and staying alert in wild, unfamiliar terrain is absolutely essential. Thankfully, he walked out in one piece, and almost certainly came away with a lesson he won't soon forget. Meet Dee, the solo explorer behind the YouTube channel Dee's Dark Adventures. Her videos typically bring her face to face with haunted woodlands, derelict structures, and off-the-beaten-path locations steeped in eerie legend. This time, though, what started as a routine overnight investigation at a remote cornfield quickly spiraled into something far more unsettling. On September 21st, 2025, Dee made her way back to a secluded cornfield she had visited once before, an isolated stretch of land hemmed in by thick forest, a place that locals insist is a hotspot for bizarre activity and unexplained phenomena. This particular field has been linked to dozens of car crashes, all happening within the same year, and all playing out in an eerily identical fashion. Every single driver reported a dark figure suddenly bolting across the road, giving them no chance to react before they lost control of their vehicles. Fueled by curiosity and determined to get to the bottom of these frightening incidents, Dee headed out to the area once more, hoping this visit might finally put a face to the mystery.
Okay, hi guys, sorry. I'm nervous. Okay, so we're still in that field, but I don't know, you see those woods back here? Those are the woods we were in. I found the middle spot, well, kind of the middle. It's not really a middle, but listen to this. So, they heard that I was in the field, right? The ones that own it on this side. They have a barn over here, right? And there's tons, he says there's been at least 12 crashes in the last 3 years. 2 years is corn, so that's 6 each of those years. Right here by his house, because there's something that keeps running out. These guys don't talk, okay? They're so far apart, they don't talk, they don't, nothing. Stay out of my stuff, right? So, I'm not going to be able to go in there that far. I'll show you here, look, hold on. There's a dog right here. So, So something keeps happening to where people say they see a person running, but they're in black. They're blacked out. They can't make out any features, and it's the same thing. It darts towards the field right as they're coming. They almost hit it, right? So I don't know how much of this footage is going to work, because that's clicking. Shut up. I hear clicking. So, this road right here, see the road? It's running from those woods across that field into here, but it's getting people right as they're there, and they're crashing into the ditch and into the barn and stuff. So, he moved his barn back 3 years ago when the last 3 happened, or the first 3 happened. And then now they're just hitting the old foundation and stuff. So I'm sitting right here. I came here the other night and nothing happened, and my footage kept screwing up. So I'm going to try to keep whatever will let me, whatever will work. I'm going to just mush it together, so it might not be in an order video. Like, it'll be in order, but it'll be clipped weird. I don't know. I can't keep the freaking clicking. I can't keep the footage. Just stay, it keeps...
The cornfield was dead quiet, yet something about the air felt oppressive and charged. Dee scattered small pieces of food across the ground in an attempt to lure out whatever had been responsible for the disturbing reports tied to this location.
Listen to that. It sounds like drums, like Native American drums. Howling. Howling came from that right. Jeez-o. Hello? I just heard a bone snap, I swear I did.
Dee began picking up on the feeling that something was close by. lurking somewhere among the stalks. The atmosphere thickened, the tension became almost physical, and a deep, crawling dread started to take hold. It wouldn't be long before she began to wonder if coming back here had been a serious mistake.
Clicking. Clicking. What is that growling sound? It's like a peripheral thing. Because as soon as I turned that light out, they did the same thing as what that guy was telling me. They show up in the darkness and they're darker than dark. Where are you? Ew. Clicking. Ugh. Oh my god. Okay, we're not gonna panic.
Things escalated rapidly. Objects were being hurled in her direction, and she could make out the sound of movement. Fast, heavy footfalls crashing through the corn. It was unmistakable at that point. Something or someone was out there, concealed just beyond the rows, matching her every step.
Oh, hi. Okay. It's like two on top of each other, guys. Hello. Here, I'll take the light away so you can see me. Hi, you still have eye shine. Oh, okay, I don't like that. There's red. Guys, look. It glows red without any light. Okay. Where'd you go? Hi. I don't want to blind you. Oh, that freaking red thing's floating, dude. Okay. Ugh! Okay. Calm down, alright. That's a howl. That's a close howl. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the car. Here, I have something here. Hold on, I'll be...
Two glowing eyes emerged from deep within the field, fixed directly on her and completely still. These weren't lens artifacts or floating dust. They were solid, unblinking, and hovering at an unnaturally high point off the ground. Then a slow, drawn-out hiss crept out from somewhere inside the stalks, followed by a distant, haunting howl swallowed by the darkness. Whatever it was refused to show itself, but it was watching, and it was closing in. Without warning...
Come on, car. Where's the eyes? Where's the eyes? Where's the eyes? Go, car, go! Okay, that was an orb. There's another orb. Guys, you saw what the dust... There's another orb. There's no bugs. You guys saw what the dust looks like. Oh, okay. What is that? What is that? Was that black? A minute ago. Ah! What? No. Okay. Hi. Ah! Oh my god, dude. All right. Hello. Hey. in the car. I'm leaving. I gotta go.
A figure pushed out from between the stalks, massive, black, and covered in coarse fur. Its silhouette didn't resemble any creature Dee had ever encountered, and despite her best efforts to hold it together, genuine terror finally broke through. Then the situation deteriorated further. Her equipment started malfunctioning, lights strobing, audio dropping in and out, and the footage cut off without warning. Whatever was prowling that field was somehow disrupting her gear. Whether it was something paranormal, something undiscovered, or something that defies all rational explanation, its true nature remains a deeply unsettling question, one that may never have an answer. Bear. The next video of the evening comes from Backpacking UK, a YouTube channel focused on wild camping, backpacking, and outdoor exploration across the United Kingdom. The channel covers solo camping excursions, equipment reviews, and bushcraft skills, giving viewers an authentic glimpse into life spent outdoors. It's August 19th, 2023, and in this particular upload, the YouTuber heads out to a remote woodland to wild camp alone, putting some fresh gear through its paces while soaking in the tranquility around him. What begins as a laid-back solo getaway, though, quickly shifts into something far more tense and unsettling.
Exped Venus 2 Ultralight, you've got an enormous vestibule on either side of this tent. They're a metre wide. The actual tent itself is 2.2 metres by 1.3 metres wide, with an internal height of 106 centimetres. It packs down to a package size of 40 centimetres by 18 centimetres and weighs 2.35 kilograms. It comes with 3 DAC poles, which are really quite heavy duty. I think it's a cracking tent. It's got loads and loads of guy points. It comes with lots of pegs and lots of guy lines. So this is inside the Exped Venus 2 Ultralight. It's massive. It's absolutely huge. It comes with its own little line, which I absolutely love. There's loads of fixings for things like lanterns. It's a proper 2-person tent. To be honest, it's way too big for 1 person, but when I'm camping locally, that's when I tend to take.
He gets his spacious, well-equipped tent pitched and settled, ready to unwind beneath the trees for the night. What he doesn't know is that things are about to go sideways.
It's still got an R value of 2.9. It's not much bigger than a can of Coke. It weighs 365 grams. It's still 7 centimetres thick, and this medium one's 183 centimetres long by 52 centimetres wide. It is tiny and lightweight. What a great bit of ultralight backpacking gear. So this is the Exped Ultra -5 degrees. So it's an 850 fill power down sleeping bag. It's got 480 grams of down, which is RDS certified. And that's the mat fully blown up, the Ultra 3R. Tiny little sleeping mat, blows up quite big. It's really nice actually, and that is my Nemo Philo pillow inside. Got a couple of hoods there, loads of guy-in points. It's quite a clever tent. I've never seen anything like it. Now on the other side, you can gutted, just been busted. Really busted, like 3 guys Land Rover busted. Oh dear. Have to keep it quiet. Oh dear. Well, campers, that was an experience, but a good one. It's out of the way now. It's the first time I've been busted, so oh God, nearly got shot. Oh dear. God. Nice. This old guy with a gun, someone in a suit, and then the backup team, which I weren't going to mess with them, just asking what the I was doing.
Mid-tour of his campsite, a Jeep rolls up out of nowhere, and 3 men step out. One of them, an older guy, is carrying a firearm, while another is dressed in a full suit. They confront him, demanding to know what he's doing there and informing him they came dangerously close to shooting him. To his credit, he keeps his composure and calmly explains himself, managing to defuse the situation before it escalates. But it does leave a pretty serious question hanging in the air. Did the landowners have the right to approach him that aggressively, or did they go too far? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. He walked away without a scratch, but this whole ordeal is a stark reminder of why knowing exactly where you're setting up camp matters so much. There are forces in this world that we can't always explain, and sometimes the real threat isn't the strange sounds drifting through the darkness, or the shadows that seem to move on their own. On June 24th, 2019, a YouTube channel called Visually Creeped uploaded this footage to his page. The video follows a guy named Jay as he wanders through one of Wisconsin's oldest burial grounds. Spanning more than 65 acres and holding around 70,000 graves, Jay had originally planned a relaxed daytime visit, well aware that the gates would be locked once night fell. What happens next, though, is anything but relaxed. Founded back in 1857, this cemetery serves as the final resting place for thousands of souls. Among them, one of the original priests involved in the real-life exorcism that inspired the famous horror film. That connection to demonic ritual and possession already gives the place a deeply unsettling reputation. As Jay sets off on his walk, he remarks on just how enormous the grounds are, pointing out that the camera can't even begin to do the scale justice. The sky is gray and overcast, with a light drizzle beginning to settle in. He moves quietly between aged headstones and weathered mausoleums, absorbing the heavy stillness of the place.
One of the oldest cemeteries in Wisconsin, over 65 acres and 70,000 grave sites and tombstones. So this place dates back to 1857. I decided to come here because I looked online and I found out that one of the original priests that performed the exorcism of what inspired the movie The Exorcist is buried here, which makes it all that more creepy. But yeah, this place is absolutely huge. There's a mausoleum. I came here on one of my first videos and I went inside one of the mausoleums. I'm gonna try to make my way over there a little while later. There's people over there right now, and plus they're cutting the grass in the background. And the reason why I'm not here at night is because they close the gates here, I think 4 or 5 o'clock. So I have to do a day exploring here. So yeah, I know it's not that, creepy during the day, guys, but I wanted to come here while they were open. Obviously, I'm not going to jump fences to get into places because I don't feel like getting in trouble. Fines are pretty hefty and you can go to jail for it. So yeah, I'm just going to film and walk through this place a little bit. I see some mausoleums, and there's actually something way down there, a pyramid-shaped mausoleum. So we're going to go check that out real quick. Man, they got chains locked up on this gate. I'll show you.
Pressing further into the cemetery, he stumbles upon a mausoleum built in the shape of a pyramid, which immediately stands apart from the surrounding tombs. He notices that the gates on many of these crypts are wrapped in chains, a reminder that no living person has stepped inside them in years. Then things take a turn. While passing one of those padlocked structures, he suddenly catches the sound of a whistle, sharp, close, and unmistakable.
Yeah, it's pretty spooky. Let's go walk down here. What the Hello? Hello? Holy shit, someone just fucking whistled, dude. I just heard a whistle over here. Like, right behind me. Hello? I just heard it again, oh I really hope I caught on film. Like on my microphone, I hope I caught that. Oh, I got the goosebumps, dude. And it's during the...
It doesn't sound like the wind, and it doesn't sound like any animal either. There's something almost intentional about it, almost human, as though whatever was inside that crypt was deliberately trying to draw his attention. He stops, dead in his tracks. He calls out nervously, asking if somebody's there, and the answer he gets is another whistle, this one even more distinct than the first. That's when the panic kicks in. He scans his surroundings frantically. The place is deserted. The only sound breaking the quiet is the faint hum of groundskeepers mowing somewhere far off in the distance. There is simply no reasonable source for that sound. He backs away from the crypt, at a complete loss. The sensation of being watched creeps over him like a second skin. Logically, he knows he's alone out here, but every instinct is telling him otherwise.
Hello? Like, right behind me. Hello?
After standing there for a tense few seconds, he makes up his mind. Goosebumps running up both arms, he turns around and heads straight for the entrance, never once glancing behind him. When he finally reaches a comfortable distance, he stops to collect himself. He admits that he's not the type to get rattled easily, but whatever just happened has genuinely gotten under his skin. Was it just the wind playing tricks? A restless spirit reaching out from the other side? Nobody can say for sure, but one thing is hard to argue with. This was no ordinary afternoon stroll through a graveyard. During a camping trip in Utah, a group of friends chose to explore a notorious haunted mansion nearby. Someone in the group pulled out a camera and took a shot of everyone together. What showed up in that photo was enough to make your skin crawl. Two of the friends are clearly visible, grinning at the camera, but lurking directly behind them is a dark, ghostly shape with deeply unsettling, almost pulsating eyes. Plenty of people who've seen it believe it stands as undeniable evidence of something supernatural, while those on the other side of the argument suggest it might be a camera artifact, motion blur, or simply the brain playing tricks through pareidolia. But the question that keeps haunting everyone remains, just what is that figure, and why does it seem so fixated on the people standing in front of it?